ready.
Let's start the special topics with visas. So for us, we had to approach this from two different angles since Ollie is German and I'm Australian. This means we always have to check the visas from two different origins. The visa conditions can differ here, which is why we paid special attention to it. To get a good overview and to keep track after reading through so many conditions for every country, we created another spreadsheet. The thought behind it was to prepare as good as we can so we can actually enjoy our travel while we're doing it and not stress or miss any visa applications along the way.
In this spreadsheet, we summed up the visa duration times, both German and Australian. We also noted if there was a possibility of extending the visa and how far in advance we had to apply for it, with the estimated processing time. We then simply set ourselves reminders in the calendar of when we have to apply, and in that way we can travel almost carefree.
We also noted down the source of origin, so we can always come back and recheck to see if anything has changed. We are using official government websites to get most of the information, but we're also using Facebook groups, ivisa.com and other traveller pages to cross-check information. I think the most important thing here is to always check how up-to-date the information is.
In addition to our visas, we also noted how long our bike Tilly is allowed to stay in the country. These times can be different. While we are allowed to stay in the country for 90 days, Tilly may only be allowed for 30 days, for example.
I think the main takeaways for us was to look ahead and set deadlines for the applications, and also to keep up to date with government pages. Another thing is to also have backup copies of your important documents that you need, both for us and the bike. We save these on our Google Drive and another hard drive in case we did lose our physical copies on the road.
Special topic 2! So when it comes to export and shipping of the bike, we did have a very steep learning curve. So I think the most important thing to talk about here is the Carnetdepassages. That is actually a document that you can get from the Automobile Association. We did it in Australia, but there's other countries with also have associations. And that is actually an import-export document. So whenever you drive into a country, they stamp it in as a temporary import, and when you leave the country, they stamp it out again. So to officially document that your vehicle has left the country and is exported again.
So when it comes to shipping, we decided to go with Bikes Abroad in Australia. So they're a professional company that helps move vehicles, I suppose, and more specifically bikes. We decided to use them just to help us out with our first shipment because we weren't sure of all the process and the paperwork. And
it was the first time for us, so we decided to go with them to just learn the process and see how it works. I think Singapore is the best example. Coming here, actually, we were recommended to present an international driver's permit, an international circulation permit, the Carnetdepassages for import-export, and the Autopass card, which is basically the taxes of Singapore roads that we have to pay. And that was a heaps amount of paperwork that we had to do
and back and
for
forth
Singapore.
Emails.
Back and forth. I think in total it was like 55 emails that I exchanged with them. It was ridiculously, it was a lot. It was really a lot.
The most important thing is giving yourself that time to learn and understand the process and not get too frustrated with all the paperwork, because there is a lot. It's not just your visas and everything, it's all the stuff for the bike as well. So I think there were a few times that you got a bit frustrated.
55 emails. No, but I think it's good to really I'm the process, and I'm actually very thankful now that we went with probably the most complicated country on earth to import a bike. But I'm very happy that we went through that whole process, because from there on it's gonna get easier. We understood the whole process, and I think we're very well prepared now for all the upcoming countries.
Touch wood.
That's stone.
Where's wood?
Special topic number 3. Do you do this? We do this in Europe.
3.
So special topic number 3 is medical insurance, medical preventative actions. First topic is medical insurance. that we got for this big travel.
Which I did so much research on. Oh my God, I think the most boring thing is reading through terms and conditions of insurances.
But it was worth it at the end.
It was, and I finally found a good one, which was Nomad Insurance. It's just for basic medical insurance. We didn't need anything fancy, nothing like to cover cancellations of flights or anything like that.
I think the most important part here is also that it covers motorcycle traveling, actually, because I remember you doing that research and a lot of these insurances actually excluded that.
Yeah, or not excluded, but they did cover motorcycle travel to a certain point. So most of them to a certain size of engine, for example, like 125cc, which obviously Tilly is much higher than that. So immediately that wouldn't cover us. So we finally found that one that specialised in this.
So the next topic is medical preventative actions. We started with basically just mapping out all the vaccinations that we're going to need for all the countries around the world. But then we were also very lucky because we went to Dr. Deb, the travel doctor in Brisbane.
She gave us so many needles.
Yes, she gave us a lot of needles. Maddie at one point actually got, I think, 6 needles in one day. Yeah. 3 there, 3 there.
With all those vaccinations, we were also obviously getting blood tests as well to make sure that they were working, and it was actually quite a long process. So I'm glad we gave enough time for us to get them all done. I think it was started at least 3 months in advance before we left, just because some you have to space out and not mix with each other.
Dr. Depp, the travel doctor, also helped us getting international scripts for all the medication that we take with us, which is important because sometimes you run out of medication or you take medication from one country to another. And you have to prove at the border to the border force that you are actually allowed to carry these medications and bring it into the country. This is the part nobody wants to imagine happening, but it's necessary to prepare for. What happens if an emergency occurs? What are we preparing for? Different scenarios came to our mind. First, light injuries or illnesses. Second, Ollie is unable to ride due to an injury. And third, injury is too bad so we can't ride anymore. Or both are injured, or bike is unfixable.
The most common injuries are small ones, like cuts from cooking or burns from the fire pit. For these light injuries, we are carrying a fully stocked first aid kit and a full bag of medicine. We have lots of band-aids in different sizes, bandages, wound disinfectant spray, but also a stabilizer for bone fractures, and many other small and large gadgets for all kinds of everyday injuries. We brought a ready-made first aid kit and then topped it up with more band-aids and bandages as these are quickly used up. In this package, we also packed a lot of standard medicine, such as various painkillers, general items for cold and flu, and everything else you need to get through minor illnesses.
The second emergency scenario is that I, as the main rider of the bike, can't ride anymore due to an injury. Every weekend we drove to a big parking lot and Maddie did some emergency riding practice. The idea to get out of the situation is that Maddie rides the bike and me to the nearest town or hospital. Since Maddie normally doesn't ride big bikes and is used to just dirt bikes, it was necessary to get her a good feeling of how to ride Tilly. In that way she can bring us to safety if something happens.
The last scenario is an injury so bad that neither of us can ride, the bike is unfixable or broken down in the middle of nowhere where there is no phone reception. Yes, it's definitely a very dramatic scenario, but it's better to be prepared than sorry. We have the Garmin InReach Messenger for this. It is a two-way communication device that can communicate 100% via global satellite network. It is connected to the Garmin Response 24/7 emergency centre. If we hit the SOS button, our location is automatically transmitted to the centre and a communication link is established. We can then exchange information via chat and explain what the emergency is. The centre then sends out a search and rescue mission or other appropriate help to get us out of the situation.
Now, it does come with a yearly subscription, which does cost about 220 Australian dollars per year, but we do feel very safe carrying this little gadget with us, knowing we can get help anywhere in the world. Since a search and rescue mission can also get very expensive, Garmin kindly also offers an insurance for these, which we happily purchased as well, with about 62 Australian dollars per year. This will prevent us from having a sudden financial end of the trip after a rescue.
So after all of that planning and paperwork and research, a lot of people are asking, how long will this adventure actually take? Like, how long is it going to take us to get around the world?
And the honest answer is, we don't know.
We don't have an end date.
We don't have an end date. We have to see how it goes. So with all that planning going in there, we don't have a route. We just know kind of from what country to the next country we are going. We need that because of visa preparations, and sometimes you need to apply in advance for a visa and it takes a bit longer.
And not only that, things change. Like there's some countries you can't access because of war or other things, and you can't plan the unknown. So
after all, it's an adventure, and that's what we signed up for. So the honest answer is we don't know.
yeah.
And that's it. We hope we could answer a lot of questions. If you have more questions, please let us know. We're absolutely happy to answer all of them, honestly. Thanks for following us on this amazing journey around the world.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate it. And I guess see you next time.
I'll throw you in the water.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, from there on we just planned backwards and set ourselves deadlines. There's monkeys fucking. Dude. Go on, that was. And I'm getting eaten by
Ants.
ants.
Oh, it's like, oh my god, there's ants crawling
yeah,
over me.
they're crawling all over me.
Okay, go.